Oh darn! I thought I caught it. I thought. Listen. Don't get mad at me now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. What is going on? We are back with episode 30 of the Darion Hopkins Show, and I'm your host, Darion of the Darion Hopkins Show. Wait for my co-hostess to come in here. Man, I know I was muted. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was muted, but hey, it is what it is. So it's all good. It's all good. And I'm happy to bring you episode 30 of the Darion Hopkins Show. I'm just waiting for my bro Mac to get on the camera so I can pull him up here. I don't want him to be all in the blank now because matter of fact, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do it anyway because at the end of the day, um, okay, so he wears some type of red today. I see that.
Oh yeah.
Good afternoon to you, bro. Good afternoon to you.
What's going on? What's going on, man? Look,
Nothing.
we,
How you feeling?
I mean, look, we didn't get to do an episode Friday. Like, the comeback was real in Boston. The comeback was real, but I mean, bro, Jason Tatum twisted his ankle in the first play, and it just went downhill from there. Miami played a good team ball, and they played consistent all the way through. They got the win. They did exactly what they needed to. They should have done that in one of the last three games, and they could have closed up shop a little better, And I give it to them. Like they played the better team ball. They won.
Absolutely, but I'm gonna say this with this T-shirt: thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. But we're gonna talk about all of that. Of course, the Heat win the series 4-3. 76ers get their new coach. DeAndre Hopkins news, Jimmy G news. We got some other topics that's going on in the NBA about will Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can they win a championship with each other? Who had a better run between the Denver Nuggets or the Miami Heat? Who had a better playoff run? So it's so much to talk about in a short period of time, man. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Hope that y'all had a great weekend. I sure did. But before we get into anything, as far as the sponsors and everything like that, I do want to give a shout out and put my prayers out to the Hardcore Sports Network. My guy Mitch is a co-founder of the Hardcore Sports Network, and they lost a member of their network yesterday. His name was Jeffrey Turner. I don't know how he passed away, but I know that was the thing going around on Twitter that he passed away. And but before I made this channel, the Darion Hopkins Show, I made it the spot. It was the Spotlight Sports Network at first. I was running my own network at one time, and he came on a few of my shows, which it was a basketball show that we had every Wednesday on there. So he came on there, talked about his Nets, came on some football times and talked about the Giants. But just, RIP Jeff. He was a good person to me. When we did talk basketball, I didn't know him personally off the screen, but just had to, getting the honor to, talk to him and talk sports with him. So, the small sports community is more than the passing of Jeffrey Turner. So, rest in peace, brother. I don't know what happened, but rest in peace. And my prayers go out to his family and the Hardcore Sports Network. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. And when we get into the shows, man, shout out to everybody's in the chat, to Arku, Snowman Media. What's the other guys? RC covers NBA and WNBA. Shout out to you, brother Jay Mill. Shout out to you. Of course, these shows are episode 30 and is going to be sponsored by SeatGeek. So if you want to go any sporting events, if you want to get tickets to the NBA finals, or you want to go to training camp or go to NFL preseason games, regular season games, you want to go to the NHL finals, everything is on there on SeatGeek. And make sure you use the promo code DHopkins and get $20 off your first purchase. So if you use the promo code DHopkins, get $20 off your first purchase there. And we have Bet Us that is a sponsor of this show as well. So make sure y'all go over to betus.com and go in there and use 125% of your sports book upon your initial deposit. The link is in the description for both of those, for SeatGeek and Bet Us. So we do have special offers for you there. Before we get to any topics, man, you got anything you need to say before we go into these topics, bro?
I mean, I'm very happy with how the series ended as far as for the Miami Heat. I am going to say this now. I don't see the Miami Heat winning, and I would be surprised if they win more than one game in the series. Like I'm not going to blatantly call for the sweep, but I don't see how Miami's going to have to show up every single game to even be competitive in this series against the Nuggets, and
Absolutely.
I don't see it.
Well, we will definitely get to that, especially tomorrow when we probably do, a little bit more breakdown of the NBA Finals. Knowing the NBA Finals do start Thursday, and the Nuggets did have 8 days. Well, technically about to be 8 to 9 days, almost 10 days off of sweeping the Los Angeles Lakers. But we don't want to get into the Lakers news. We don't want to get into Lakers stuff. We just don't. We just don't. But let's get into it. Let's talk about the game last night and this stuff. I know you went to sleep at halftime. I don't know if you was able to watch the replay.
Yeah, I watched the replay, and it was just like they were defeated by the end of the third quarter. It was done. It was done. You watch the fourth quarter, and it's just like there was nothing they could do, and even in the first half of the game, like it's just what I watched. A lot of bad shots, a lot of bad threes, just chucking up threes. Like play from the inside out. That's what they were doing. That's how they were winning.
Mm-hmm.
You go away from winning.
Agreed.
I get it. You lost Tatum, but you still had Brown. You still had the role players there. Like let's work this thing. Let's keep going how we were going. Like I mean, shit. Most Tatum's points came in the second half of most of them games anyway. I think except
Absolutely.
the one. So it was absolutely still doable for them to win the game without him. But I feel like as soon as he twisted that ankle, everybody was like, this ain't our game. This ain't our game. They gave up. And it seemed like it. It just like they played like they had a flat tire.
Okay, so just to get into the logistics of it, and I want to, I want to say this because I know I put out a reel about saying stick a fork in the Boston Celtics. I know y'all saw that reel. I know y'all saw that reel. Majority of y'all probably saw it on my YouTube Shorts. Y'all probably saw it on the Instagram reel, or y'all probably saw it on the Facebook reel. But I said on one of the podcasts that the Boston Celtics was done, and I said stick a fork in them, and I have to agree. I'm sorry to the Boston Celtics fans. When Miami was up 3-0, I said stick a fork in y'all, and y'all came back from 3-0 down. So I respect the Boston Celtics for getting to a game 7 and forcing a game 7. Because anyway, out of those 3 games, Boston could have lost. For real. They just could have lost. They just could have gave up. They just could have quit. But I saw some dog in them after I made the reel. I saw some dog in them. And they came back and forced the game 7. And for me, they just ran out of gas. But Miami finally figured out how to win in a game 7, because this happened last year to them against Boston in a game 7, and Jimmy Butler missed a shot. And I think that was to get to the NBA Finals, if I'm not mistaken, or the Eastern Conference Finals. It was one of those. But respect to Boston. I'm not taking nothing away from them. Y'all fought to the very end. Unfortunately, Tatum goes down. It was just a basketball play. People on Twitter talk about, Gabe Vincent did that on purpose. How can he do that on purpose when he tried to take a charge? He just laid there. It's just that Tatum came down wrong on his foot. That's all.
I mean, honestly, though, the messed up thing is, remember they called a foul on Marcus Smart when he laid there and Bam wound up stepping on him when he came to the dunk, and they called the foul on Smart. I think that was what the first or second game. I can't remember, but they called a foul on Smart. They did the same thing against the Sixers when he tried to take the charge from Embiid, and Embiid finished and stepped on Smart. Same thing happened.
But I just feel like with Gabe Vincent's situation, the foul was already called with Gabe Vincent. He was already laying there. Like in that instance, Jason Tatum didn't know that he was going to fall on his foot. He was just going up for the shot.
No, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like that. The only thing I'm saying is that as long as there was a foul called somewhere somehow, because that's all you can do. I mean, that's
Right.
it.
Right now, if a foul was not called in that instance, we might be having a different conversation in there. But a foul was called. Next year, that was like what the first play of the game that it happened, and Jason Tatum didn't. Jason Tatum didn't make it look. He didn't look the same since. We all knew that he was favoring that left ankle, and it definitely showed a factor. But you absolutely right, Matt. The rest of the team did not show up. Marcus Smart did not do what he does best: drive to the basket, kick out. It was in some instance that Derek White was the only consistent one on the floor
Yeah.
out of everybody. Even Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown started out pretty good in the first quarter, but he faded away in that second and third. He faded away. And Derek White kept y'all in the game. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be the Derek White show tonight because Horford couldn't do nothing. Horford couldn't do nothing. Brogdon was still shooting off that bad elbow that he has. So I don't know, like what they you just thought they just gave up and quit because I feel like Derek White was the only one that had the energy for the Boston Celtics there.
I mean, like I said, nobody was hitting shots. Confidence is everything when it comes to this, man. And it really is. And when you lose your confidence and you're not hitting your shots, it does. It affects everything. And with this team, it does. Like you clearly saw, like one little thing can defeat them, and that's what makes them not a championship team, especially this year. Now, the whole thing is, will they make it back here? Probably not, because more than likely Brown's gone this year, and there's no, you know what I mean. Like Brogdon's going to step up. That's fine. You know what I mean. White.
Do you really think Jaylen Brown is going to leave, knowing that the Boston Celtics are really expecting him to give him a max contract of $295 million over the next 5 years?
I mean, I feel like he can get that anywhere he goes, and that he can be more of of an actual superstar versus being a background, second hand, third hand guy. Because I mean, look at it. When the majority of the time him and Marcus Smart are putting up the same amount of shots a game,
right?
That's not good. That's not good. So that for me, that's where it comes down to. Like, why isn't the ball put in his hands more often? Why isn't he getting asked to do more? Why doesn't he get to do more? And it's like, he can facilitate, he can drive, he can shoot, he can do everything. So then give him that opportunity. But the problem is, because you have Smart, because you have Tatum, because you have these guys, it's not easy for him to just have this super easy clear path. And again, it comes down to coaching too, because if you put him in the right position to succeed, he's gonna succeed. He just has the tools to do so. But again, you don't give him, the best opportunities. That's what's gonna happen. That's honestly, that's why I just don't see it. I don't see any reason where he would be like, yeah, I want to stay here. This is the team I want to play with. Nah, I mean he could go somewhere else and have the same, role, if not more, and actually, have a say so. Just in behind Tatum. Tatum is the head guy. Tatum's gonna have all the say so.
Now, my question to you is this. For me, I think Jaylen Brown should stay in Boston. I think you should find some pieces that can work around Jason Tatum and Boston. I think you need an actual point guard when it comes to the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum he can play the 2 or the 3, or you can put Jaylen Brown at the 2, but you need an actual point guard to help out in the pick and roll. You don't want to put Jason Tatum in a pick and roll every single down the floor possession or down the floor set. You need a facilitator, and I think that's what you're missing with the Boston Celtics. I think Jaylen Brown can play the 2. You can put Jason Tatum at 3 and keep him at the wing. But them two pushing the ball up, they're not dribblers. They're not ball handlers. And you don't really have too many ball handlers on your Boston Celtics team right now. You have Brogdon, but he's coming off the bench. So like you can't put Brogdon in there and make him a start and make him a starter, because now you get rid of what's happening on as far as the second unit. I mean, who's going to be on that second unit? So.
Dude, it's multiple things, and it starts with coaching, coming up with a better scheme and a better plan to execute what you want to do. And the whole thing is just like, look, man, Horford is old. Like you're telling me, like he's the best you can, put
I feel
together.
like you could go young at the big man too, though. I think you
Yeah,
could go young there too.
that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like Boston's a completely different team if they was to go get a real big man. Like get a real big man. Like let Brown go. Get a real big man who can get rebounds and who can work with Tatum on the pick and roll. They can set up the pick and roll. He can set up and help Tatum get shots. He can run the court, be an actual, you know what I mean, a defensive player.
But I
Really
think I think you put too much pressure on Jason Tatum, bringing the ball up and putting him in pick and roll, where you could put him on the wing and have a guard that can move around without the basketball and put Tatum in situations where he don't have the pressure of bringing the ball up. That's why I feel like you're missing a point guard there. But RC covers what WNBA and NBA says. He said it is a bigger fish to fry. If you're going to pay both of these guys, which is if you go to, I don't know what Tatum's contract is right now, but I know right now for Jaylen Brown, they saying 5 years, 295. Now, if they keep him there, you still have a chance to win a championship. I think you still need to work some pieces for the Boston Celtics to get you over that hump. Now, Derek White, I say you keep. Now, the problem is going to be with Marcus Smart because now do you put Marcus Smart back on the bench and go get your starting point guard that can do what he does best? And that puts you in high pick and rolls with probably a younger guy a younger guy that's younger than Al Horford, or put Robert Williams in the high pick and roll, but he's not really true of a scorer that can roll to the basket. You get what I'm saying? So you're going to go out and get a young guy that can actually pick and roll and be athletic as a big man. So I feel like it's going to be a lot of rotating pieces that's going to happen for Boston this offseason. But I feel like Boston is missing a point. They're missing a true point guard in that starting five.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. For me, it's not just the point guard; it's the point guard, and then it's the big man.
Right.
You need a defensive anchor, and there is none. Like Horford, like I said, he is essentially a shell of what he used to be. He is slowly, like he used to be, a real good double type of guy. Then he turned out like, okay, he'll get you a little more than a handful of points, but he still can play real good defense. And every once in a while, he has flashes on offense. To now, it's just like you get flashes here and there. You get a couple flashes during the game. That's it. And it's just like, again, like this is your championship team. Like if you can't win in the paint, how do you expect to honestly win and be productive? And it's just like you can't. You got two guys that play the same game, the same type of role, and you're not even using them the right way. And that's Tatum and Brown. They use them almost the same exact way. And it's
and a quick question that I have for you too, Mac, as well, is that it might be a reach, but in my opinion, I don't know why. I don't understand why Mazzulla didn't go deeper into his bench, because you have a guy in Mike Muscala that is a shooter from the 3-point line, and he's a rebounder for his height. Why are you still go with Muscala in rotation with Al Horford and Robert Williams?
I mean, like I said, there's multiple things that could have been done, and like I said, coaching is the first thing I stated. Coaching is the first thing I stated because that's exactly what it was. Like, dude, it all comes down to coaching. If you get out coached, you're easily going to get beaten, and that's exactly what happened. He like, and it was, and it should have been, and not saying really anything too bad about Miami, but they should have. They should have swept us. They're like, honestly, it should have been get your brooms out, sweep, done and over with. Like they fought back. Okay, that might have saved Mazzulla's job, but even still, I don't care. I mean, I would. You're either gonna keep him and try to go with what he's doing, or you get rid of him and start over new.
So before we get into any more of the Eastern Conference Finals Game 7, we got some breaking news according to Adrian Wojnarowski of Golden State. Bob Myers, two-time Executive of the Year, the architect of the 4 NBA championships, is stepping down as the franchise president and general manager, as he told ESPN on Tuesday. It's just time, Myers said. So Bob Myers, the Executive of the Year, the architect of the 4 NBA championships for the Golden State Warriors, the franchise president and general manager, is stepping down as the Golden State Warriors. I don't know if he's going to go anywhere else. I don't know if he's just taking a break from it, but that's just the breaking news that just came out. Any thoughts on that, or you seen that coming back?
I mean, I didn't see it coming, but I mean, eventually, everybody kind of gets to that point where they're like, okay, well, you know what I mean? I've done what I've wanted to do. I've won championships. And how many people can say that they won multiple championships? You know what I mean? Like for not one, not two, not three, but 4 championships.
Yeah, 4 championships. Yep.
How good does it get? It doesn't get much better than that.
I know. So anybody in the NBA that needs a general manager right now, I mean, I think you should make the call to Bob Myers if you want to revamp your franchise, because before Bob Myers got there, this franchise was in the water. The Golden State Warriors was in the water. They were terrible for years. Nobody wanted to go to the games, none of that. And then when he came in, he turned around and then he made the decisions to get certain coaches and get certain players in the draft. And Bob Myers did a good job for that Golden State Warriors franchise. Absolutely. So 103-84 is the final for the East Finals. Miami advances with Jimmy Butler having 28, Caleb Martin having 26, Bam Adebayo only having 12, still struggling in this series. Gabe Vincent, he didn't really play as well either with 10 points. And Max Strus is just Max Strus. He gave you 8. Duncan Robinson 10 off the bench. Highsmith gave you that 2 points, but that really was a big 2 points defensively. And Kyle Lowry gave you 7 off the bench. And they shot 50% from the 3-point line and 48.8% from the not the free throw line, from the 3-point line. I'm sorry, 3-point line for 50%, 48.8 from the field overall. And for the Boston Celtics, Tatum had 14. We all know that, that injury was lingering him about what happened there. Horford only had 8 in 34 minutes. Smart only had 9 in 35 minutes, which I was completely surprised about that. Derek White, of course, he was consistent, 5 of 12, 2 of 9 from the 3 with 18. Jaylen Brown with only 19. Really, the majority of those double-digit points came in the first half, and he was only 8 of 23. Grant Williams came in. He didn't really play much, but he only had 3 points. Hauser came in and had 2. Muscala had a 3-point shot. And then you had Robert Williams come in and play 14 minutes with 8 points, where Boston only shot 21.4% from the 3 and 39% from the field. But 8 of 23 in a game 7 for Jaylen Brown, that's not good. You're not going to win basketball games like that. You're just not. You're just not. So I know you're probably fed up with Jaylen Brown at this point. I know you're probably fed up with him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, he needs to go somewhere where he can be utilized the right way. That's why I said him and Tatum are like they essentially play the same position. Like when they run plays, they do almost the same exact type of things, and it's just like you got one guy already doing that. Why do you have 2 guys doing the same thing on the court? So now you're making it even easier for defenses to read you, to fight over top, to play you harder, and literally for them to execute every time you shoot that 3. Shoot
Absolutely.
that. You got nobody in the paint. You got not like what's going on, and that to me is what's aggravating.
And I think they were shooting a little bit. I think they started getting desperate because I've noticed with Boston, when they get down and they get down like 8 to 10 points, it's hard for them to come back, and they start getting desperate and shooting threes. And this is one stat that got me that Boston's been doing so well in the last 3 games. It was fast break points.
Mm-hmm.
Miami has 17 fast break points to Boston's 8. And another stat that I got, turnovers. Even though Miami had 14 and Boston had 15, but Miami had 21 points off of turnovers. 21 points off of turnovers. So even though that Boston had 19, but that fast break points, we usually see that stat flip in the last 3 games outside of game 7. It was more Boston with the fast break points, and then Miami went back to their up tempo, getting out and running after you turn defense into offense. So that's what Miami went back to their strategy that made them win the first 3 games. To me, I felt like the last 3 games, Miami went away from that strategy in that instance. But my question to you, Mac, is this. Now, we all know that Jimmy Butler won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And I completely understand because he's a star. He's the face of the team. I get it. But if we're talking strictly Eastern Conference Finals, we're talking just this round itself.
Yeah, I mean,
it has to be Caleb Martin. I'm
sorry.
Oh,
for sure. I mean, all day long. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It doesn't make sense to give it to anybody else. That's freaking nuts. If it wasn't for him, in a dash of Vincent, like there's no way they would. There's no way they win. There's no way.
Thank you, Arku, for the analysis. I appreciate it. That's why I have me and my bro Mac here, because we definitely go off analysis. We really break down games as much as possible. But yeah, like Caleb Martin was the most consistent in every single game of this series. Even when they were down, they lost the last 3 games. Caleb Martin, even though you started Caleb Martin in game 6, you finally put him in the starting lineup, which I've been advocating for, to put him in the starting lineup, because he gives you so much of a different style of play. He's not scared to go to the basket. He's efficient at the 3-point line. Now, I think he shot 60% at the 3 last night. He only missed 1 or 2 threes last night. The guy was on point. He was the main reason why the Miami Heat had the lead, even though Jimmy Butler was getting to his spots and he was making what he needed to make. But if you look through game 1 through game 7, even on the bench and off the bench, Caleb Martin should have been MVP. I have so much utmost respect for Jimmy Butler and what he done in this run, a playoff Jimmy. Everybody called him playoff Jimmy, but in this series itself, we saw playoff Jimmy in the first 3 games. But we have not seen him in all 7 games. If you look at all the games, if you want to break it down, Caleb Martin was in double figures every single game, off the bench and on the bench. I think he should have got MVP, but I get it. It's the narrative of playoff Jimmy getting back to the finals. And I can completely understand it, because I looked at this stat on Bleacher Report too, Mac. Now, since Jimmy Butler got to Miami, since joining the Heat, the first NBA Finals in 2020 that was a first NBA Finals appearance since the LeBron era in Miami in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
The first number 8 seed to reach an NBA Finals since 1999, which was the New York Knicks. The first play-in team to make a conference finals in an NBA Finals, led Miami to the 3rd conference finals in 4 seasons, and headed to a second NBA Finals in 4 seasons since Jimmy Butler got there. So I get the narrative. I get it. Mm-hmm. But Caleb Martin, as of right now, in the 7 games, he deserved MVP.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, like, he got robbed. He got robbed. I understand why, but again, he got robbed. Like, how do you not see that he got robbed?
The guy was performing, man. And this is a guy that's an undrafted player, went to the Charlotte Hornets. We bounced around the league, got released from the Charlotte Hornets when he was there. Him and his brother was both on the Charlotte Hornets. And he comes out, and even though if you look at him from the Eastern Conference Finals, but if you look at the playoffs in itself, Caleb Martin came up big in that second unit as well. He was the star of the second unit. Regardless of what series that you saw, he was the star of the second unit. But when he got his shot to be a starter, and I think Eric Sproul was starting to see, like, I need to start this guy. If I need points and I can't get it out of Bam and I can't get it out of Jimmy Butler, I know I can count on Caleb Martin. But I think Caleb Martin ain't taking the MVP too easy. I think he wants the bigger prize, and that's the NBA championship. And I think it carries over. I think his streak carries over into the finals, but it's going to be very interesting to watch there. It's going to be very, very interesting to watch. So my next thing is, when it comes to this situation here, when it comes to it, okay, NBA Finals is coming up. We're going to know that, but let's get into some other NBA news, and that is Nick Nurse, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Nurse is officially the Philadelphia 76ers' new head coach. Now, is this a good signing or a signing where Nick Nurse is there, but the same shit is going to happen? So, what are your thoughts, Mac, on Nick Nurse becoming the Philadelphia 76ers coach before I get into it? Because I got some things to say, but I would like to hear your thoughts on it. Him coming, the new head coach for the 76ers.
Look, I'm keep it short and sweet. Does he have a good plan, and is he going to be able to work with Embiid and whoever else they bring in? What is he going to do to be able to change it? And hopefully something good. But I mean, to me, it's you have to show me. Yeah, anything can happen, but again, you as a coach in this league, if you don't win, you're nothing. Like literally, you're just not. Like, I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, he's got probably 2 or 3 years to have something going here. If he doesn't, same thing that happened to Doc.
Now, it's a lot of questions going around to this. And I kind of feel what Stephen A said on First Take about this whole indoor thing of Nick Nurse. Now, Nick Nurse, one thing I can say, he's a disciplined type of coach. He is a guy that holds players accountable. I can agree with that. Now, my question for this 76ers franchise is this. Are you going to are you going to have this, are you going to revamp this team to be around Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, or Joel Embiid and James Harden, depending on what James Harden wants to do, if he wants to stay here or not?
Listen, if you hire Nick Nurse and keep James Harden, I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works.
Trading me to Boston, I can't. But I don't see how that works either. And I feel like when it comes to me, I feel like Nick Nurse is going to make this a more team-oriented type of basketball. James Harden is not going to be able to get his way with Nick Nurse. I just don't see that happening. I don't see James Harden coming in and dog walking over Nick Nurse, and he's going to do what he wants to do. Nick Nurse is not that type of coach. He's not the type of coach that's going to let you just talk to him any kind of way because you're the player and you're supposed to be getting this max contract or whatever that goes on. So I feel like with now you got to do something with Tobias Harris or just do something with Tobias Harris, because I looked at it from what JJ Redick said as well on First Take. I don't know if you watched it, but even if James Harden does leave, the Sixers, as far as organization wise, is still gonna be over the cap. So to get back under the cap, you're going to have to let James Harden walk and do a sign and trade for Tobias Harris to get yourself back under the cap to go get some players that can help you win right now. Now, if James Harden leaves, that means you revolve your offense around Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. And I think Nick Nurse is the fit for the job, because now I think Nick Nurse is going to get Joel Embiid to his potential, meaning being down on the block instead of him being on the perimeter. Joel Embiid, if you notice the last couple of years, he started to fade away from the being down on the block. He started being more on the perimeter. So now Nick Nurse can go back to getting him developed back to that type of big man that we saw Joel Embiid when he first came in the league before, when he actually first started stepping out on the floor. So for me, I think Nick Nurse is the job, because I feel like he gives no bullshit. He says, I don't care what you doing this for, you're going to run it this way, and it's going to be my way. And I feel like James Harden probably not going to like that and wants out. But this is the James Harden that doesn't like that if it's not Mike D'Antoni. But I feel like this roster is going to have to change if Nick Nurse wants to be successful here.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, that's the whole point. Why else would you bring him in? You bring him in because you're going to go with his philosophy. You're going to go get the guys that he wants, and you know what I mean? Like, you have to have confidence in that. If that's going to be your coach, he has to sell you. And
Exactly.
from what I can see, I mean, obviously he must have sold him.
Right. And I think he was the best fit out of all the coaches because even though he has a relationship with Daryl Morley and he turned down the Suns job. So he wants to take on the challenge to try to rebuild this team where a team that's already kind of put together in Phoenix. I mean, I think a lot of roster changes got to change for the Suns as well, but it got to change for the 76ers. But I think the Sixers is a more challenging job than the Phoenix Suns. So I think Nick Nurse wanted to take on that challenge as well. All right, cool. Yes, I am. I am really a Heat fan. Like, you really think I'm playing? I'm going to be representing them next season too. I'm not playing. I'm dead serious. I'm not a Sixers fan no more. I don't care if Nick Nurse is there. I don't care. Because at the same time, can Nick Nurse get them past a second round? That's the question. And can Nick Nurse bring in players? And it might just work because now you might bring in a Fred VanVleet that's going to be a free agent. Let's see what he could do with, bringing it, Nick Nurse, bringing him in with that traction now. So let's see. Let's see what happens. I don't know the numbers of what he's getting for the Philadelphia 76ers, but I think this is, to me, do you think this is a better fit than what Doc Rivers is going to do now? Well, I mean, I don't know what Doc Rivers is going to do now. I don't know what he's going to get hired to be a coach at, but do you feel like Nick Nurse was the best candidate for this 76ers team as of right now?
I mean, to be honest, no. I like Doc better there. I think they had it was just better for him and better for them. I mean, just the simple fact alone is he has continuity there. Listen to what he has to say, because I mean, like I said, I would have rather got rid of Harden in a heartbeat. The way, just off the way he played, like, come on, man, we're trying to play for championships here, and we can't. You make it to the championship, you're walking the ball up, you're being inconsistent, like you're not trying whatsoever. Doc can only scream so loud from the sideline. Doc can only do so much. For me, I thought it was blatantly clear that Harden was the one who needed to give the pink slip. See you later, bud. You know what I mean? And they gave it to Doc, but I guess, you know what I mean, they gave Doc a timeline. They must have gave it to him last year or, the year before, and they said, look, you got this amount of time to go win. You don't win, we're moving on. So
I know probably the expectations was a little bit too high on Doc Rivers, and they still was called it trust the process, but it definitely wasn't a process when you had that guy for 3 years.
You got him James Harden, like James Harden. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who thought James Harden was going to be this spectacular freaking superstar, but I mean, you wrong.
Yeah, he's not a superstar anymore. I mean, he was at one point. He was in his Houston era. He was a star at one point. He was a scoring champion at one point, but he's just not down. And I got a lot of lick back from the real that I said that James Harden does not deserve a max contract, and I still stand by that. He doesn't. If y'all think that y'all want to give James Harden a max contract, that means you think he's on the same level as Jaylen Brown. Absolutely not. Let's keep it. If you want to do player numbers, who earns a max contract more, Jaylen Brown or James Harden? I'm going to say Jaylen Brown 1,000% as of right now. Yes, understand he led the league in assists with all that, only the 22 points a game. So what? He doesn't deserve a max contract. He don't play for he plays for a okay contract.
Oh no. I mean, let's get it. Let's not get it twisted. I mean, do either one of them guys deserve a max contract? No. Brown don't deserve a max contract neither.
I'm not saying, dude, Jaylen Brown deserves a more max contract than James Harden.
Yeah, he deserves one more for sure, because essentially, you saw how Harden is playing. He's only going to get worse.
Yes, agreed. Yes, it's going to get worse.
You're going to pay for him to be worse than he was and continually get worse. That's what you're paying for. That's what you're willing to risk.
I feel like Jaylen Brown could get better because he's really young.
No.
I think he can get better. That's why I feel like he deserves more of a max contract. I think it's a development there.
An investment than James Harden, but it's just nuts that people still think like, oh yeah, he could get a max contract somewhere. Who? Like, it would have to be like the fucking Hornets. It would have to be like the dumbest team in the league, maybe the Rockets. But I mean, it's to me, it's just crazy.
Right. And I just feel like when it comes to Jaylen Brown, I think the development is there for him to get better. That's why he deserves more of a max contract. But I think we all know that James Harden has reached his ceiling, and that's it. He's not going to get any better. We just know that. So, yeah. So congratulations to Nick Nurse. Hopefully you can turn this around. And I'm still not a Sixers fan. Just to throw that out there. I don't care if it's Doc Rivers or not. I'm not going back to being a 76ers fan. Yeah, I might be like, oh yeah, the Sixers won. But am I a Sixers fan? No, not no more. I'm sorry. I really took my ties to Miami. People thought I was playing with that. No, I was dead serious. I took my ties to Miami. And let's get to it. And like I said, I stole this topic from First Take, so I'm going to definitely put it out there. I stole the topic from First Take. So ESPN First Take, if you want to find me or reach out to me, the email is in the description if you ever want to have something to say, but I stole the topic anyway, and I want to give it our personal opinions about it. Who had a better playoff run to the NBA Finals? The Miami Heat or the Denver Nuggets? Now, I can say this, and I feel like both teams had great runs. But do I really have to pick one here? Like this is a tough topic because their runs was a little bit different.
It was a lot different.
It was definitely different. So tell me who you think had the better run.
I mean, again, I can break it down two ways. Like you can look at it historically, and then you can look at it as pure dominance. Okay, when you're looking at it from a dominant standpoint, 100% I give it to the Nuggets. But if you're looking at it from a historical, like this team has climbed, and even though the odds just kept getting bigger and eventually bigger and bigger, and they kept putting themselves in certain spots, they still found a way to win and get there. So, yeah, the story is with Miami. History is with Miami because it is. If they were to win, it would absolutely, like, it would be beautiful. You know, storybook. Let's make a movie. But, again, the Nuggets, the dominance that they have shown, like, how many Game 7s did the Nuggets go to?
The most was like a Game 6.
Exactly.
That was against the Phoenix Suns.
They handled business every step of the way. And now like they're essentially a Titan that has woken up and now is fully awake and headed towards, Miami Heat. And to me, it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of tight games, but I just Miami has to play the best ball of Miami's season to beat the Nuggets. The only good thing that might happen, hopefully Tyler Hero is completely, healthy and ready to play. If he's cleared to play, then I mean, you guys really have a chance. And that's what I'm hoping for because I want to see him ball out. But my biggest problem is like I don't see you guys have an answer for Jokic. You put Bam on Jokic. I mean, yeah, you put Bam on Jokic, and he'll probably be fouled out by the third quarter. And that's that's the huge mismatch right there.
Now, who had to me? I have to say this. I think Miami had the tougher way to the NBA Finals, and I feel like Denver had a little bit of a, I wouldn't say easy way, but there was a more dominant way. I think Miami is a diamond in the rough type of team, and we all knew Denver was supposed. We expected Denver to do what they needed to do as a number one seed. I think we already expected, like, okay, they're the number one seed. They supposed to be in the Western Conference Finals. They supposed to be in the NBA Finals. They've been number one seed. We understand nobody really talked about them like that. Cool. But I feel like the tougher way, and I feel like the most impressive way for me, I think was Miami Heat. And that's no bias against Miami Heat because that's my team now and stuff like that. But if you look at from the play-in, Tyler Hero going down, still beating the Milwaukee Bucks was the number one seed in the East. Then you're going, and matter of fact, but let me rewind that back a little bit. So in the play-in, you lose your first game at home. Then you got to go to Chicago and beat Chicago to get in. So that's one step there. Then you come in as an A seed, going up against the number one team in the East in the Milwaukee Bucks. Unfortunate, Giannis get hurt, but that's part of the game. Tyler Hero gets hurt in that same series and still beat the Milwaukee Bucks in 5. Then you get to the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, they force a game 6, and Jalen Brunson has one of his runs of his career, but Jimmy Butler was unstoppable in that series, which was they were the number 6 seed or number 3 seed. I don't know what seed they was. They were like the number something seed. They was higher than Miami. Go in that building in Madison Square Garden, but end up getting a win and beating up in Miami at game 6. Then after that, you go into a number 2 Boston Celtics team that was considered one of the best teams in the NBA outside of the Milwaukee Bucks, the most complete team in the NBA according to a lot of media. You win your first 3 games, and you struggled in the last 3. After you struggle in the last 3, you find your gel in Boston and beat Boston convincingly in a game 7. Now, understand Denver never played a game 7. Understand they swept the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James. Understand they beat the Phoenix Suns. But let's be completely honest here. In that first round, we all knew the Timberwolves did not have no chance in that first round. The whole world knew that Timberwolves did not have no chance of beating the Denver Nuggets. I had the Milwaukee Bucks at least trying to beat the Miami Heat before the Timberwolves beat the Denver Nuggets. Absolutely. So for me, I feel like the most impressive and the more tougher route was Miami, but the more dominant route it all expected to be was the Denver Nuggets. So that's how I put it and how I break it down in that way. Because we all know Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and them boys, they've been playing well all playoffs. Miami ain't played well all playoffs, but they found a way to get it. So if you look at it from diamond in the rough and being at the top of the crop, my Denver's at the top of the crop, and Miami is one of those dogs or one of them guys that's going to be considered still bottom of the barrel because they're the 8th seed and nobody's giving them a chance. Might give them a chance against Boston. Nobody gave them a chance against Milwaukee. The only one they probably gave them a chance was the Knicks. But everybody expected Denver to beat Timberwolves. People expected Denver to beat Phoenix. Not me, though. I thought Phoenix could beat Denver, but I was wrong. And I had Denver winning in the Los Angeles Lakers series. I had them winning. If they did advance, when they did advance, I said Denver's going to win that series. But did I expect them to sweep the Lakers? No, I did not expect that. And the only sweep that actually happened in this series, in this playoffs, in like the whole NBA playoffs, was the Philadelphia 76ers against the Brooklyn Nets in the Western Conference Finals with Denver and the Lakers. The only 2 sweeps that happened. So, it's interesting. It's really interesting that, if you break it down in that way, that I can't just give it to one person. I can't give it to one person.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. It's too tough to sit here and say either one because they both had a tremendous story to get where they are, and even all the way through the season, like it is. Now I will say this: a lot of Miami's woes, they did put in their own way. You know what I mean? So when they went down, and then they had to go to Chicago. Like, they kind of put themselves in that position to have to go there and win. But yeah, they
Right.
did go there and win. So I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, they won in clutch times. When they had to win, they got to win.
Yeah.
But what I'm worried about is, what happens if they play the same way? I don't think they can win against the Nuggets if they play that way. They have to play the best team ball that they absolutely can. The best, like, the good enough won't do. Good enough won't do here. It won't. Not against the Nuggets.
I just feel like Denver don't take Miami lightly. Because Miami has been always the underdog. They always been an underdog, and Denver always been the dominant. I understand Nikola Jokic might going to be a dominant person because right now, there's that in the offseason, whatever happens in this series, Miami got to go out and get a second big man to Bam Adebayo. You're going to have to. You're not going to be able to win the championship with Nikola Jokic on the other side of the court with his size and the way he plays. You're just not going to win it. But Miami is one of them people that keep counting us out. And that's what they're thinking. Keep counting us out. Understand that, the Nuggets are good. Don't get me, listen, I discredit the Nuggets majority of this season. And I didn't even watch basketball majority of the season into the playoffs. I just thought Denver was not fun to watch, in my opinion, but they get it done. They get it done.
I love watching them. I love watching the Nuggets. Like, they are a damn good team. And like I said, it's all going to come down to how are they going to stop Jokic, and then how are they going to stop Murray? Okay, if Jimmy Butler doesn't show up, if Bam doesn't show up, it leaves it all on the role players. And they can get it out in a decent low scoring affair. But again, the Nuggets aren't going to overlook the Miami Heat, just like the Nuggets didn't overlook the Lakers. They came out and they played the Lakers 100%. They gave 100% every game, and they won. So they know the Denver's going to come play 110% every single game. Now, can you play harder? Can you play better defense? Can you get better fast break points? Can you outplay them? Can you outshoot them by the 3-point line? It's all possibilities, but again, you have to show up every single game to win against Denver, to beat Denver.
I mean, I feel like Miami could get. I feel like Miami could get some games on Denver because
I do. Especially.
I think they could get some games on Denver, and I feel like sometimes you're having too much rest can make you rusty. So hopefully Mike Malone had them practicing and not just resting until the series starts. You see what I'm saying? To keep them loose and to understand you don't want to avoid injuries and stuff like that. But sometimes having too much rest can get you to being rusty as well. So hopefully he got them loose and still like at least shooting around, not like going hardcore practice, but at least shooting around and not being comfortable just because you're here. You get what I'm saying? So if I'm with Denver, I just really hope that don't overlook these guys. This is for all the marbles. This is for the NBA championship. In Miami, since 2020, they still saying unfinished business, and they still going to feel like that until they get their championship.
I mean, yeah, I can feel that, but again, I don't see Denver taking this lightly at all. This is going to be the first championship. This is going to be the first time a banner goes up and for a championship team. This is going to be the first, and this isn't just making it to the finals. This is winning in the finals. This is coming out and showing. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's going to be a great series. I don't think it hits game 7, but I think it hits a game 6.
Absolutely. And I feel like hopefully Tyler Hero could come back in this finals. That I think that would be a booster for them. And Kevin Love has he has to. And Kevin Love has been injured as well. That's why he's not been in the lineup. But I think you keep the lineup that you have. I think Caleb Martin is pretty good at being in the starter and having Kevin Love come off the bench. But I know like the length of Michael Porter Jr. and stuff of that nature. And I think KCP, the way he plays defense, it's going to be the only matchup problem that I really see is Nikola Jokic and Bam Adebayo. I think everybody else plays to their core outside of Gabe Vincent being so short. But I feel like even though Michael Porter is lengthy and he can play great defense, Caleb Martin, if Caleb Martin and Michael Porter Jr. have that matchup, I would love to see it because they play like each other a little bit. Michael Porter might be a little bit taller and get another higher jump. But when you come out shooting from the three, Caleb Martin and Michael Porter Jr., they might shoot lights out in this series, like for real. That's a matchup I'm looking forward to seeing.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Defensively, like I think the Nuggets have a much better defensive team just because they have Gordon and they have Porter and they have Murray and they have Jokic. You know what I mean? and then they got Bruce Brown. And it's just it's nice to see that like they have 6 guys that are going to go out and they're going to try to score every single night, let alone the actual bench guys. And I'm counting the 6th man on this one. I'm counting Brown on this one. But it's just like you see this team and how well they're put together, and it's beautiful. And then we're not even talking about KCP. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, bro, it's exciting. It's exciting.
And I can't wait. We'll definitely talk more and get more breakdown of this NBA Finals, man. We'll definitely get a lot of breakdowns of it here. But let's get into a little bit of NFL. I know a little bit of NFL news came out. So DeAndre Hopkins got released. We saw that happening. We knew they wasn't gonna get any trade value for him. The Cardinals probably couldn't find a trade suitor or what they wanted. So they decided to release him. Now, we all know that we talked about it on previous shows that the Buffalo Bills is interested in going to get DeAndre Hopkins. Kansas City is interested in going to get DeAndre Hopkins. But outside of those two teams, what team needs a receiver right now outside of your Baltimore Ravens? Because you know I was going to say it. Outside of your Baltimore Ravens, what other team can use DeAndre Hopkins' services at this point?
I'd like to see him either go back to the Texans or to the Panthers. I'd like to see him go match up with a rookie. And you know what I mean? Pick the rookie you want to go play with. I mean, start something new. He's got at least another 2 or 3 years left in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, you want to play with a contender, then you know who the contenders are.
Right.
You know, there's 5 or 6 contenders in the AFC and there's 4 contenders over in the NFC. Pick your poison. But at the same time, it's like then understand with each team you're going to have a different role. You're not going to be the number one guy everywhere you go. You go to Buffalo, you're not the number one guy. Diggs is the number one guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. The Ravens, that's why the Ravens are the most intriguing, because the whole thing is, right, if Odell is not 100%, you know what I mean, and he can only play, you know, say they limit to 10, 15 snaps a game until 100% healthy. Well, then you got D-Hop there. You know what I mean? And he can kind of carry that load. That's the one thing that makes it intriguing about the Ravens. But everywhere else is just like, dude, I mean, you're either going to be the number 1 or number 2 option. There's only a handful of places where you would be looked at as the number 3 option. And again, then it's how much do they run the ball? How many looks are you going to get? And then, again, do you like that quarterback? Are you going to be able to build chemistry with that quarterback? And that's what I'm saying. There's a good chunk of variables that go into all this stuff. So, I mean, it's really whatever he finds most comfortable, because he could just be like, what's the best defensive team on paper? All right, let me go here.
I got a few teams that a lot of people might agree with or disagree with, but it's been rumors about DeAndre Hopkins being in Philadelphia. I saw a picture of him being at the Philadelphia International Airport.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know what that had nothing to do with it, but the Eagles don't need a receiver at this point. They got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. They do not need a goddamn DeAndre Hopkins. So Eagles fans, nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud right now. I think they don't need a receiver at this point. So stop that. But I think to me, this would be interesting. And a lot of people, I think a lot of people already know where I'm going with this. The New Orleans Saints, give Derek Carr actually a number 1 receiver, and you see what he did with Devontae Adams last year.
Yeah,
you see what it does. Even with the bad organization that he had with the Raiders, Devontae Adams still was top 5 in receiving and led the league in receiving touchdowns last year.
Do they even have enough money?
Depending on what, that's the thing. I was getting to that. Now, it depends on what the Saints or organization is going to do here. Because even though Michael Thomas is on a 1-year prove it deal, because his deal was up and he got a prove it deal, so he's not really making that much in the bank. Now, there's a lot of questions going on with salary cap, but if you want to give somebody a true number 1 receiver and work with them really well, and you want to win a week behind NFC South Division, why not go to New Orleans? Why not? I mean, you got one of the best running backs in the league, but you don't know if you're going to have him due to his court case. You don't know what that. But I feel like Derek Carr is in the best shape of his life right now, and I think he's one of those guys that could get DeAndre Hopkins the ball. Another team that I, like you said, the Houston Texans and the Carolina Panthers, I absolutely agree with you there. But I'm gonna lean towards the Texans than the Carolina Panthers. I just feel like I could trust CJ Stroud a little bit more than Bryce Young, just because of a prototypical quarterback in the NFL. CJ Stroud gives me that, and I think Bryce Young has a lot of development that he has to does, which is CJ Stroud too. But I think you make CJ Stroud a little bit more successful with DeAndre Hopkins going back to Houston. There's no Brandon Cooks there. And the only question is, who's their number 2 receiver? Who's going to help out DeAndre Hopkins on the opposite side? So I like those suitors for Carolina, New Orleans, and Carolina, New Orleans, and Houston. Now, some under the radar teams that you could look at. You can scratch off the Cincinnati Bengals. They don't need that. That's a contender. You don't need them. The Chargers don't need them, but he did say he would like to play with Justin Herbert on a podcast. But I just don't see him going to the Chargers, so scratch that off. Kansas City, yes, I can see him going to Kansas City, but I don't know. I don't know if he really wants to. I mean, I don't know if he really wants to go there. Everything's really been favoring the Buffalo Bills at this point. Shit, go to the Minnesota Vikings too. They don't have Adam Thielen no more. You can put him next side of Justin Jefferson with Kirk Cousins. That's an option. So it's plenty of options out there for DeAndre Hopkins at this point. So if you could outside of who would be an under the radar team for you that will probably pop up and be like, oh shit, let's go get DeAndre Hopkins right now.
The Lions. That would be an oh shit team. I'd be like, oh shit, what the hell? Yeah, they fitting to make a run. They really trying to put their marbles out there.
I got another one for you too, though. You said the Detroit Lions. That made me think. How about the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I mean, it could be spicy, but it's just.
If you had Trevor Lawrence with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram as your tight end with DeAndre Hopkins on the opposite side, I mean, they got the money.
No, I mean, and absolutely, but again, does D-Hop feel like that defense can help get them to a Super Bowl? Because honestly, that's what he said. He said he wants to win a fucking Super Bowl. He wants to be on a Super Bowl team. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if he did go sign with the Eagles. He'll take a 3rd or 4th role. No problem. So? Yeah, he'll take literally. I mean, I could 100% see him in like what we did the year we went to the Super Bowl with Anquan Bolden. He was a 3rd down that was our 3rd down receiver. Anytime we got a 3rd down, that's the guy. That's the guy. We're gonna drop a play for him. And literally, and D-Hop will get you that 1st down. Like you're talking about hands in the NFL. The 2 best hands I've ever seen in the NFL. And then we're talking about hands alone, guys who don't drop passes. It's easy. It's D-Hop and Larry Fitzgerald. Those
absolutely
guys just did not drop shit.
And if they did, it wasn't their fault. If they did, that wasn't their fault. Sometimes it can be overthrown when they're wide open, or they're it's too low to the ground. But even with those type, you have to think about it. So, but But at the end of the day, I do like DeAndre. Do you know what with the Philadelphia Eagles? You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. And Cowboys fans, stop it. I'm gonna throw that out there now. Cowboys fans, stop it because I see mad Cowboys fans on Twitter screenshotting that DeAndre Hopkins followed Dak Prescott on Instagram. So what?
Oh, that don't mean nothing.
What does that mean?
It means they might have had a conversation.
Yeah, a conversation. They still buddies. Doesn't mean they're going to team up. I mean, if Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott is a quarterback, another wide receiver away from getting to the Super Bowl, focus on that defense for Dallas at one point.
I mean, yeah, no, for sure.
And you know what? A team that had an okay defense that played really well that he could probably go to, but I think he's not. This is a stretch here. The Giants need a receiver.
I was going to say New York, but again, that team does not scream we're a Super Bowl contender.
Right. But Brian Daboll is a smart coach. He's a smart coach, and this defense is developing there. Or if not the Giants, then the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. That defense is really good. And if you look at the Jets rankings, they were top 10 in defense. They were just a quarterback away from being good.
Yeah, but I mean, do the Jets want to take away from the receivers? Because they just paid Lazard. They got the rookie who they're gonna want production out of from last year.
And they got Garrett Wilson from Ohio State the year before.
And then you know what I mean. And it's just like they got a tight end. I don't know. Like I said,
interesting. That's interesting.
It could be very interesting. It depends where he wants to go, where he's going to feel the most comfortable. Now, now when you think about like everything that happens off the field, the Jets probably got the best because
right.
It's New York. It's New York. How else do you need to sell somebody? Welcome to New York, baby. Like there's only one New York. But
yeah.
And you know what I mean? He could be looking at a different team.
So Arku said the Falcons are improved. I mean, yeah, they are. But you got to think about it with all the moving parts that came in for that defensive side of the ball.
Oh, hell no. I'm being honest.
It's a lot of moving parts that still has to gel in that defensive side of the ball. It's still a question with Desmond Ridder. I mean, you do got Kyle Pitts and you do got Drake London as your main receiver. I mean, you know, Kyle Pitts, can he stay healthy? That's one. Drake London had a great rookie year, but I think he doesn't want to go into a situation at that point. He doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think he wants to go somewhere where it's not going to be the right situation for him. He, like I said, he's going to want a certain amount of snaps. He's going to want a certain amount of looks. He's going to want checked off his list to come there and play. Then he's also not going to want to have to do certain things. And I'm be honest with you, like he's getting up there in age to where he doesn't need to have 130 freaking targets. He just doesn't.
He doesn't need that.
With the way he can produce, so essentially he's already kind of said like that's why he wants to play on the championship team. He doesn't want to carry a damn team. Like I said, I could see him trying to build something with a rookie if he thought the rest of the team was complete. That's why the Texans would be nice for him to go home to the Texans, and then they got a real good rookie this year. Let's see what they can possibly try to develop. But other than that, I mean, no, he's like I said, he's going to go one of the top teams in the league, and he's going to do exactly what he wants to do.
So D-Hop, I hope you find a team that you know is going to be a contender. A lot of teams that you're looking forward to. I know you're getting a lot of cryptic tweets from certain players, meaning like Jalen Ramsey putting out a tweet for you to come to Miami. But it's still a question there with Tua. So
if there's a question about the quarterback, if there's a question about the defense, and there's a question about the overall team, I don't think he goes there.
Absolutely agreed. I absolutely agree there. D
I mean,
Hop and KC. We already
franchise,
mentioned one of those already, though.
unless you're gonna pay him as a franchise wide receiver, I just don't see that happening. And I don't know too many teams who are going to give him more than, a 15, 16, 17 million at the very most. You're talking about a $20 million contract. I mean, $20 million a year. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, he's not getting 20 mil a year. Absolutely not. He's not getting 20 mil a year. But I think he'll get something like 10 mil, 10 to 12 because of his, what happened with him last year. So he's not gonna get 20 mil. Absolutely not. I don't see that. So D-Hop, hopefully we can find you a squad real quickly so you can get into OTAs, get into training camp. And we'll love to hear what we'll love to see what you got here. So and Ian Rappaport just tweeted out that former Arizona Cardinal star DeAndre Hopkins hired agent Kelton Crenshaw of Clutch Sports to represent him in a free agency, sources says. And then it says Hopkins previously represented himself before signing with Crenshaw, and he also has reps. He also reps Chase Young, Kevon Thibodeau, and Devontae Smith. So that guy knows what he's doing since he was representing himself. You the second D-Hop, Darion. I know I'm the second D-Hop. I know. We all know D-Hop is DeAndre Hopkins. Everybody keep asking me, everything, and let me just throw this out there. Everything that has the last name Hopkins, I have to be related to them. Bernard Hopkins, am I related to him? No. DeAndre Hopkins, am I related to him? No. Do my family own Hopkins Ford dealership? Absolutely not. Do I have family that works for Johns Hopkins University? Absolutely not. I don't. I know my last name is a popular last name, but damn, no. I'm not related to none of that stuff. I wish I was. I wish I was. No, I just want to throw that out there. But I might be the third D-Hop, the sixth D-Hop, the way things are in the world today. Because John Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins, Bernard Hopkins, they all damn near over top of me at this point. They all over top of me at this point. But I'll post about this on a Nothing But Raiders podcast later on today, but I don't think I'm gonna do the podcast because my niece wants to go watch The Little Mermaid today, and I gotta take her to the movies to go see that.
Nice.
Unfortunately. But Jimmy G, this guy never stays out the news. He never stays out the news when it comes to the Las Vegas Raiders, man. Tell your cousin D-Hop I said what's up. Mitch, I'm definitely gonna inbox you, bro. Mitch, I'm gonna definitely inbox you, bro. Sorry for your loss, man. I heard about what happened to Jeff. I heard about his passing, but Mitch, D-Hop is not my cousin. I wish he was. I wish he was, though. But Jimmy G never stays out of the news, ladies and gentlemen. He just doesn't. And Jimmy G has this injury waiver clause of if the Las Vegas Raiders wants to release him right now, he will not get a dime of it. That was the injury waiver clause that they put in. And the reason why the contract wasn't signed on point during free agency. Now, we all knew, even Mac knew, we all knew that Jimmy G hurt his foot last year. He finally does, and it comes out in the rumors that they decide he decided to get surgery in March. I don't understand why he waited so long to get surgery in March. That's one. Number two, we already knew this about his foot injury. So the Las Vegas Raiders signing him to this contract, knowing that he had this foot injury, but they said they knew everything before Jimmy G got there. They knew everything, and they still decided to sign him. So, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well,
do you think the Raiders should release Jimmy G? Because I feel like that's a bad idea because there's no quarterbacks on the market that can start right now.
I mean, they just signed him, so that it kind of makes it stupid because you knew he was injured, And like, if he's not ready for week one, then I mean, you already ready to scrap that idea?
I mean, if you look
As
at
far as
the whole situation with Jimmy G, though, he has more than just a foot injury.
So it's more than a foot injury.
Yes, if we look at his past, he had shoulder injuries with the 49ers. He had a foot injury with the 49ers. Had a leg injury with the 49ers. He had injuries in New England when he was there.
So he injured when they signed him?
Yes.
So then, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. So then why did you sign him in the first place?
This is the Las Vegas Raiders we're talking about here, man. I understand Jimmy Garoppolo is a face. I understand that he's a quarterback that's been to Super Bowl. He knows Josh McDaniel's system.
You know
We
what?
get it.
You know who y'all should go get? The perfect quarterback for the Raiders would be Kirk Cousins.
Oh, shit. Not with that offensive line. We still got holes at the offensive line that needs help to protect Kirk Cousins. But for me, this whole injury clause thing, Jimmy G really put his contract at risk. He put his whole performance at risk because that's why it took forever for the contract to be signed when he first got there. Remember, I don't know if you remember, but they delayed his press conference because of that. And I think he put in his contract with that injury waiver clause, if he's not, if the Raiders, if he's not available to the Las Vegas Raiders, the Raiders can cut ties with Jimmy G and he won't get a dime of that money. So technically, Jimmy G put his job and his livelihood on the line. But at the same time, you put it on the line and you went and got surgery in March, where you should have been got surgery to be ready for OTAs and be ready for training camp. And they say he will be available for training camp, but you should be out there getting reps with Devontae Adams right now and these receivers.
Yeah.
You got to gel with them right now. You have to.
Yeah, no.
And when the mandatory mini camps come, what is Jimmy G going to do? To just sit on the sideline? But I understand they got Aiden O'Connell. They drafted. He's getting majority of the reps. But do you really want to start a rookie that was drafted in like what the fourth or fifth round? I don't know if I want to start him as of right now. Especially with this Las Vegas Raiders team. I mean, he got the weapons. Don't get me wrong, he does. But I'm still nervous of starting a rookie at, haven't really done. I mean, he has to prove himself, but I'm just kind of confused on this whole situation with this. So the Raiders, they got to do better of dissecting free agency. The second wave of free agency is coming right now. It's coming. Is what we got 1 day left until the month of June is here. In my opinion, and I don't know if you might agree with this or not, but in my opinion, in the second wave of free agency, you go get another quarterback. You get rid of Brian Hoyer. Get rid of him. I understand he's a Josh McDaniels guy. He's a New England Patriot guy. I get it. But Teddy Bridgewater is out there. Go get a Teddy Bridgewater.
Hell yeah.
Why not? He could throw, and he's definitely mobile.
I mean, even that, kick the tires on Trey Lance.
We just talked about that. I just saw some news about that. Yeah, I just saw some news about that Trey Lance situation. Now, the Raiders should trade for Trey Lance. I made a video about it earlier in the year, and I'm concerned.
I mean, I would. What I'm saying is, for me, I would definitely kick the tires. I definitely kick the tires. Hey, man, what would he look like in a trade? And that's exactly what I would be asking. What's the trade look like? What you thinking about? And see you there. I mean, if you don't fill out feelers, you don't put out feelers, you don't know. And right. I'm just like, shit, man. That's one I would want to know. I would want to know if I was them. I mean, and the whole Bridgewater thing, absolutely. That makes 100%. It makes sense. But again, being this late in free agency, it's like, is there really going to be anybody else coming up?
I don't know the other quarterbacks that are available right now, But if we need somebody to go in there and gel with these receivers, outside of Aiden O'Connell and Brian Hoyer, and then you got Chase Garbers, which he's been there a couple years now, that really he knows the offense more than, and probably he knows his team. He doesn't know the offense. He knows this team out of all the quarterbacks that's there. He knows the team. He knows his Devontae Adams. He knows his Hunter Renfro. He knows Josh Jacobs. He knows these guys from playing with them, in some games last year. So even being behind Stidham when Stidham was here. So for me, I say go get Bridgewater, get rid of Brian Hoyer. Hoyer, if Hoyer has to start week 1, we're losing. I'm sorry, right? We're losing. So Jimmy G gotta get it together. He gotta find some way to get. I understand a foot injury. A foot injury is really something that's in like soft tissue area of what I'm hearing. That it might take longer to heal. Gregor John, what about Carson Wentz? You hell no. Oh hell no. Matt, you better not think it. You better not think it. Absolutely not. No, hell no to Carson Wentz.
Yeah, no, that really doesn't make too much sense. Because I would rather give somebody a chance who hasn't had 4 chances than give him a chance again. And it's just like he's already proven that he's a backup at best.
Right.
Like, he was well overdrafted. I mean, shoot, I would rather give Russell Wilson another shot.
Didn't give Carson Wentz another shot.
Carson Wentz a freaking shot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like I said, the Raiders just, I don't know. Something needs to happen in this organization from the ground up.
And now here comes all the Raiders YouTubers saying, oh, here comes the Tom Brady narrative. Here we go with this shit again.
No, Tom Brady is retired. Leave that man alone.
Exactly. I hate this narrative. I hate it.
If he was coming there to play, he would have came there to play. He didn't come there to play. He retired. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, and I understand that he got minority ownership of the company. I get it. But you really think he's going to get rid of his ownership just to be a quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders? Absolutely not.
No, not at all. Not at all. What he's trying to do is guarantee he has passive income for the rest of his life.
Exactly.
Kids have passive income for the rest of his life. And he gets on being, so he can get to that billionaires club. That's what he's doing. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Like all these the sports stars, they take their money and they reinvest it into other sports teams. Look. I mean, lots of like pro athletes do it. Eric Rodriguez. I mean, A-Rod, Derek Jeter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you know what?
Turn their money into assets.
Yeah, no, and the same thing like Ryan Reynolds and oh my God, what's his name? They bought the soccer club. And like bam, that's passive income they'll have for you know what I mean until they sell
damn near the rest of their life for real.
You know what I mean? And they can pass it down and pass it down and pass it down, and that's what makes it like that's all that is for. That has nothing to do with him wanting to play for the Raiders. And secondly, why the fuck would he want to play for the Raiders? Like, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't he have just came out and did that? That's what I'm saying. To me, that would make 0 sense for him to do.
Zero sense in that instance. So, yeah, Jimmy G, get it together, bruh. Raiders, I'll talk about it more on my football channel. Give y'all more brief breakdown of it. And before we head out of here, because we're not going to have we talked about everything that we really needed to talk about. For everything with the hottest topics today. Mac, if you do want to leave, because I do got my wrestling segment that I really want to talk about. If you want to stay on for it, because I just want to let you know that AEW, which is All Elite Wrestling, is having a Owen Hart Foundation tournament in the memories of Owen Hart. Now, I know that we talked about it off air about the past wrestlers that we wanted to do a topic about. But Martha Hart, which was Owen Hart's wife, they can't stand the WWE after what happened to him, which I watched the documentary of why she does it, and I completely agree why she does it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so they having a tournament, a men's and women's tournament for him, and the champion, the final rounds of that will be held in Calgary, in his hometown. So I feel like AEW is doing the right thing with this. WWE should have put Owen Hart in the Hall of Fame way before time, but just that's Martha's situation, that she don't want nothing to do with WWE. That's why he's not in the Hall of Fame. And I talked to my cousin yesterday about this, and I said the WWE shouldn't control who goes into the Hall of Fame. I feel like they should open it up, and Vince McMahon should stop making people go into the Hall of Fame and have a committee like everybody else, like you have the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, and have a pro wrestling Hall of Fame, not just the WWE Hall of Fame. That's just me.
So I'll say this to my knowledge of the WWE. So the WWE Hall of Fame is essentially all of the living members get that $20,000 check every month. And that's
what about the dead members? That's in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. That's what I'm saying. As far as I know, you get the ring, and that ring comes with that $20,000 a month check, to where you will be taken care of for the rest of your life. And that's the honor that comes with that. Now, I understand some people, they put in the hall way after they were supposed to, and they should have. Fuck yeah. Like, Owen Hart should have been put in immediately. Like, it just didn't make no sense not to. You know what I mean? Even if you say, we're honoring his memory because of the tragic accident, we're putting him in the Hall of Fame. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that money and we're going to set it aside, and we're going to give it to his family. So his family gets that check every single month from them. So, yeah, they didn't do that. They fucked up. That was a big fuck up on their part. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I know Dark Side, I think it's called Dark Side Wrestling or something like that my cousin sent me the link for, the whole backstory of behind the Owen Hart situation. But shout out to AEW for doing that tournament in his remembrance. And the Hart Foundation, the Hart Foundation charity is going to sponsor the whole event there. So shout out to them as well. But if you want to stay on, you can. I just want to go through a recap of all the matches from this past week, because it was a lot of matches this weekend, bro. It was a lot of wrestling that I actually watched for the first time, because AEW All or Nothing. I just gotta say this: if you want to watch wrestling and be entertained the whole time, you'll go watch the Fatal 4-Way for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Was one of the greatest matches I ever watched in wrestling in this recent era.
Okay.
One of the greatest matches I ever watched. And you go watch you just wait till you hear the name of this match. Anarchy in the Arena match. So you had two fractions battle it out, and it's kind of damn near unsanctioned anywhere in the arena. We seen shoes blow up after super kicking somebody. We see somebody get a fork to the forehead. We see somebody get slammed on barbed wire. We see somebody put thumbtacks in another wrestler's mouth. Yeah, it got really anarchy in that match at AEW.
That's the early ECW days.
Yes, it's basically an unsanctioned match. Jericho was in an unsanctioned match with Adam Cole. And we seen all types of shit. The crowd wasn't into it, though.
Oh, yeah.
But we seen all types of shit, but the crowd was not into that first unsanctioned match. But that Anarchy in the Arena match, when I said I was on this live stream for 4 hours for AEW All or Nothing, and it was a hell of an experience watching. And I like all the titles that they have too. You know how WWE has the World Heavyweight. Well, you know how they got the brand split with WWE now, with Raw and SmackDown. So you got SmackDown Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion. Now you got a World Heavyweight Champion for Raw. You got the Universal Championship with Roman Reigns on SmackDown. You have those. But AEW, you have a trios tag team champion, meaning that it'll be a 6-man tag match, but they have trio championships.
Okay.
They have the regular tag team championships, of course, the AEW World Heavyweight title. And then you have the TNT title. So the TNT title is like the second one to the IC title, to the Intercontinental.
Okay.
So you have that. Now on the women's side, you have the AEW Women's Championship and you have the TBS Women's Championship. So now they have like a women's IC version of it.
Okay.
Which was pretty dope as well. So they have like different types of titles. They have an international championship as well, where they had a 21-man battle royal at all or nothing, double or nothing. That was pretty interesting to watch. It was really a lot of former WWE younger talent is at AEW and actually moving up in the ranks. So
nice.
it's something that you could definitely go back and rewatch. You can find on YouTube or everything.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna look up a couple of their matches.
If you want to see the Fatal 4-Way, you know the Miz, right?
Yeah, I hate him.
I know you hate the Miz, but MJF, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, is a 2.0, a better 2.0 than the Miz. He could wrestle his ass off. He could talk on a mic.
Yeah,
and he could definitely put on a show.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of watching a couple matches from them. So I mean, I will say, I like what I saw, but I mean, like as a whole, I like watching wrestling, not for the entertainment. I watch it for the wrestling.
Yeah.
I want to see the techniques. I want to see chain wrestling. I want to see off the top rope. I want to see you using the ropes. I want to see you doing a finisher that nobody else does. I like it's adding all that up together.
And you will see that in the Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a better brand of wrestling for people who know what wrestling is.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a high school wrestling show, then yeah, you go ahead and watch WWE, because that's
at this point, yes,
it's a bunch of high school drama. But like I said, I'm sure AEW has its own little drama and their own little storylines.
Yeah.
But like I said, for me, I watch it for the wrestling. I like the pop.
Yeah. If the crowd is into it, it makes me get on the edge of my seat. And I felt like, and I had this, like, I don't know if you saw my status on Facebook, but I put it out there saying that I felt like a Double or Nothing was better than Night of Champions. Yes, I understand Bianca Belair lost the Raw Women's title at Night of Champions, but you kind of messed up Asuka's moment in that situation, because Asuka was supposed to win it at WrestleMania, but y'all let her win it at Night of Champions. That's the thing I don't get about the WWE. You miss out on a moment with that.
Can I ask you this? Do you feel like it's starting to get to WCW, WWE? Do you feel like it's starting to get that rivalry with AEW?
No, because AEW comes on Wednesdays. So when it comes down, AEW comes on Wednesdays. Now, if it was both Monday night, it would remind me of the Monday Night Wars. It would remind me of that. And now, hold on. So I'm gonna finish this up because they're fixing the internet here. Here we go with some internet issues again. But when it comes down to it, do I feel like that?
I gotta go grab my kid, so I'm gonna head up out of here. All right, man. Finish the show. Thanks a lot. I had a lot of fun today, brother. I'll talk to you later. Peace.